Hi, I'm Kent Burton. This exercise is known as line drills. Now, when I was growing up, in every sport I ever played, line drills were a basic that we did for conditioning. And conditioning, this is a great conditioning exercise, but that's not what we're going to use it as here today. This exercise is about training movement, and movements are really important. We talk about training muscles all the time, but in softball, there are movements that we do all the time that we need to train to do. And several of these movements are places where we typically kind of hurt ourselves during a softball game. So we are going to get ourselves in shape by training these movements so that we can do them when they come up in a game. Now, what you're going to need for this is something that will signify where you need to stop and touch. What I've done is I'm using these little cones. They're cheap, you can buy them anywhere, but you don't have to do that. You can use pine cones, a deck, cards, anything you want to put on the ground that will signify this is where I need to stop and I need to get down towards the ground to touch those things. The other thing you're going to need for this is, again, a space where you've got, a good 20, 30 yards, okay? 20 yards is probably enough. Now, when I was coming up, you used these as sprints. You were sprinting from spot to spot. We're getting older, we don't really need to sprint anymore. But what you would like to do in this is to run the way that you might run from first to second or second to third. How fast you would do that, okay? Because that's what we're gonna train here, is to be able to run, stop suddenly, and then reach down to the ground, come up and turn and go in the opposite direction. Why do we need to do that? Well, picture this. You're on first base. A line drive is hit to left field. You think it's going to drop. You're heading down to second base. You're going down there good, and the left fielder makes a miraculous catch. I got to stop and go back to first. A lot of times that can be something that injures you if you're not used to running fairly hard, stopping and going back in the other direction. The other reason this is important is that we are going to be training up and down movements. If you play either the infield or the outfield, you're going to start from a standing position, and if the ball's hit on the ground, you've got to go down to the ball and then come back up. Sounds easy. Not that easy. Many of us aren't quite as mobile as we used to. So we're going to be using our bodies up and down. So we're going to be training running forward, stopping, coming back, and also training going down to the ground and coming back up. Not all the way down onto the ground like on your knees or whatever, but leaning down and touching the ground and coming back up. So the exercise looks like this. I've got 4 cones set up, about 8 to 10 steps apart on each of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from here, and I'm going to run down to the first cone. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to touch the cone, and I'm going to come running back. And then I'm going to stop and go the other way. And I got the second cone. Touch the cone. Come back. Okay? Third cone. Down. And back. And last but not least, the last cone. Down. And back. Now, in terms of how hard this is, how hard you run from each of those depends. If it's a slow jog, go down, touch, and back, that's the easy version. You're going to run a little harder, that makes it medium. You're going to run really hard, that makes it difficult, that makes it hard. These are line drills.